NBC News confirming the Manhattan District Attorney now is in possession of former President Donald Trump's tax returns and some other financial documents as well. Let me bring in NBC's Tom Winter, who is joining us now on the phone. Tom, not a total shock, because we knew after the breaking news on this show Monday with that Supreme Court decision that this was now a question of when, not if. So what more are you learning?
Well, that's perfectly put, Hallie, and it was a question of when and not if, and the when was pretty quick in this case. So basically, shortly after the Supreme Court's decision or lack of decision, and that they were not going to stop the grand jury here in New York City from getting these tax returns, but perhaps much more importantly, the underlying tax documents, the subpoena was able to be enforced, and so those records are now in the hands of Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance.
The dramatic announcement: there will be a special counsel investigating those with ties to President Trump. The man leading this new investigation, Bob Mueller, a former FBI director, in some ways a unique figure in Washington. Last confirmed by the Senate 100-0, his prestigious 10-year appointment as FBI director extended by an additional 2 years.
There's almost nobody who has a better reputation than Bob Mueller for being a dogged investigator and a fair prosecutor.
And make no mistake, this will be a full-scale investigation with Mueller exercising extraordinary power.
Somebody who is in the role of special counsel will have the full range of authorities that they need to carry out their mandate, and that includes subpoena power, grand jury power.
Today, we know that those tax returns are in the hands of Manhattan DA Cy Vance after the subpoena was enforced on Monday. While the Supreme Court's ruling doesn't mean the documents will become public anytime soon or ever, it does signify a broad investigation of hush money payments and other financial issues over the course of the last 8 years that very well could spell trouble for Donald Trump. As our friend Tim O'Brien writes in Bloomberg, a dam that Trump has spent decades fortifying around his finances and tax returns has been broken. And Vance's investigation appears to be broad enough to pose a serious criminal threat to the former president, his 3 eldest children, and the Trump Organization.
How do you read what the special counsel came up with, looking at attempts by the Russians to influence the election and finding there was no criminal conspiracy or cooperation between the Trump campaign and Russia?
The Manhattan District Attorney overseeing a criminal probe into former President Donald Trump's business will not seek re-election in November. The announcement Friday by Cyrus Vance Jr. not to seek a 4th term raises questions about the timing of the investigation into Trump.
The president committed the crime of obstruction. You could not publicly state that in your report or here today.
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Is it
and conspiracy essentially synonymous terms? You're going to have to repeat that for me.
true that the impact... Pardon?
Can you read the last question?
The last question was...
I want to make certain I got it accurate.
The individual is in fact obligated to provide what's being demanded by the regulation or statute, meaning you don't have any wiggle room, right?
I'd have to look more closely at the statute.
Well, I just read it to you, correct?
And where are you reading from on that?
I'm reading from my question.
Then could you repeat it?
Okay.
I have on the screen...
Is that correct on the screen?
Can you repeat the question? And now that I have the language on the screen.
Is it correct? Pardon?
Can you read the last question?
The last question was...
I want to make certain I got it.
Aha! Finally, we got him! The district attorney of Manhattan has the Trump tax returns. Oh my God, this is so incredible! Okay, so maybe Mueller wasn't able to get him, but this time we'll definitely get him. Well, you know what? There's a lot of tells here that tell us that no, the district attorney of Manhattan, Cyrus Vance Jr., does not have Trump. I mean, first of all, here's a big thing. Here's a big tell. Here we are, Cy Vance. This is supposedly, easily would be the biggest, hottest case in his entire career. So guess what? He just announced that this year he's retiring. He's not seeking re-election. Really? Is this the attitude of somebody that has the hottest case in his entire career? He would definitely be sticking around for this. So that's one big tell. And the other thing is what has leaked out. Wait a minute, what you say? You these documents are under court seal. They can't be leaked. Yeah, right. Believe me, it was the same thing with the Mueller investigation. They leaked what they wanted to leak. I mean, believe me, if they had absolute proof of Trump-Russia collusion, we would have known it very quickly. But what happened is with the Mueller investigation is poor little Mueller found out very soon after he took over the investigation that there was no there was no Trump-Russia collusion. So all he had left was just to just extend the investigation way like almost 2 years past the time it should have ended. And maybe he was hoping for some lame obstruction of justice routine, or even better for him and his fellow and the Democrats, his crew of Democrats. Did you notice they made sure to extend the investigation past the 2018 midterms to help the Democrats? And it was just a few months later that they had to deliver the sad news that there was no Trump-Russia collusion. So, and what they leaked, if you notice, what they leaked was stuff that really had nothing to do. We heard there was definitely leakage of the Trump Tower meeting with Don Jr. and the Russian lawyer. No. So, yeah, that was definitely leaking, but we would have known right away if there was any Trump-Russia collusion. Now, same thing. Same thing applies to this current investigation. And by the way, I believe it covers the tax returns from years 2011 to 2019. Think about it. Trump was already well known as being an opponent of Barack Obama way back in 2011. I mean, he would have had to been a complete idiot of putting a target on himself like that, and then going ahead and flat out cheating on his taxes. Yeah, really. I mean, you know for sure that they're going to go through your taxes with a fine-tooth comb. I'm sure they audited it, and if they had found, if there was anything there, it would have been revealed already. Now, what is leaked is today we have the leak, the big reveal on his taxes. And it's really, really lame. I mean, if this is the best they can do, I don't blame Cy Vance for splitting. And what it is basically, it's an assessed value of a property that Trump owns in Westchester County. In 2015, he allowed some sort of conservation easement on 158 acres of his property. So in return, he got to a conservation trust. So or some land trust. Anyway, whatever. And the bottom line is he got a tax reduction of $21 million. Now they're saying, oh no, that's too inflated. You know, of course, yeah, they mentioned that the local government said that assessment was too high. Of course the local, they want more taxes. So, but the thing is, it was a professional assessor that assessed the value of that property, and that's it. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, that's ridiculous. If believe me, if there was anything more than that, we would have heard about it. And that in itself, at the worst, you're gonna have a penalty on the assessment company, not on Trump. So it's absolutely ridiculous. It's going nowhere. I mean, and that is why I'm saying that poor Cy Vance Jr. appears to be Robert Mueller II. It's the same thing all over again. No, you don't have them. All these excitement over the taxes. It's going to be so disappointing. You could cry like Rachel Maddow did when the Mueller report revealed no Trump-Russia collusion. So much for that. Cy Vance is doomed to become Robert Mueller II. So I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you also later, Mr. Mueller. Mr. Vance. So take it easy.